Morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tuesday, the 9th of March 2021. With the prodigious, the prominent Professor Johnson at Proclamation News and Governs. So I'm live on Castbox, live on YouTube, and live on UpLive TV. Coming through in progressive, capital P in progression, capital P in persuasion, capital P in positivity, capital P in propaganda. So we're looking at the lineup today. We've got UK politics, royal family, laws in place. Someone died in front of a train in Welwyn Garden and Essex live as well. So here we go. There's been an accident on the roads as well. People need to think safety, think first. Do not enter your vehicle under sleep deprivation. Do not enter your vehicle under the influence and narcotics. Checking, making sure you and your passengers have seat belts adjacent to the car seat, and babies having seat belts and adapters adjacent to the car seat. Checking your engine oil, water coolant tank, making sure it's topped up to maximum level. Tires are not bowled. Checking out for road safety signs, further police instructions, and making sure motorcyclists are not overtaken when you're turning into a safe, sufficient directional choice. Checking your wing mirrors and looking over at a glance of your shoulder before turning. Anyway, I'm going to give my sponsors a shout out live. Thank you all for coming through. I really appreciate you guys listening. I've got one of my friends listening. She's done media studies as well. Very, very intelligent, smart lady herself. Just trying to give her some encouragement to, exfoliate her voice. She might come and do her own channel one day, perhaps. We never know. I hope so. I like to inspire people. I like to inspire people, not expire people. I'm here to, give a bit of a guidance. It's all about building each other, characteristics amongst humanities. Anyway, P proudly sponsors Proclamation News and Governs. They're very etiquette carried out. All areas are covered, including central station monitoring provided. All work done according to insurance requirements. This is a friend of mine's company. He's carried out his works at Harry Kane's stepmother's house in Hertfordshire, Potter's Bar. I was there actually putting up the wires in, with the wire tidies they tack to the fascia soffit. He carries out etiquette works in Essex, such as Casbah Restaurant and many more big businesses. Please call Tarek Khan, CCTV and intruder alarms. It's very important to make your equity, safety, and your family, which is paramount, isn't it? Making sure all your belongings are in safe hands, which cameras will give you intruder alarms will go off, and you'll know when people. So please give Tarek Khan a call on 07908 216 142. 07908 216 142. Installation and maintenance of intruder alarms, fire alarms, CCTV, all work guaranteed and certified to SSARB standard 24-hour call-out service. Can provide CCTV for pubs, clubs, restaurants, or new business. Secure your business, your safety and priorities within your business are paramount. So think safety and think first. As we're moving on to think safety, think first, what I was just talking about a minute ago, giving you my rundown of 10 commandments, which I know are top of my tongue, because I've been, in the media for quite a while now. A lot of stuff just sticks with my memory. Several 999 crews rushed to accident on that A13 in Basildon. This realised how much, 999 services are up against it throughout the UK roads. Fire crews, police, and ambulance staff attended the scene. The scene on the A13 in the Basildon area, I mean, especially the fire brigade, they have to cut newborn babies out of a car in a car accident. It must be a dreadful job for them to do, picking out, new, well, not a longly um, newborn baby in a car seat, cutting them out the top of, cutting the roof of a car out, knowing that a baby might not be breathing. That is a risky job they do. Better than banging a ball in the back of an onion net, thinking, yes, I deserve £100,000 this week. I know. Anyway, several emergency crews rushed an accident that caused long delays on the A13 in the Basildon area. Fire crews, police and ambulance workers were in attendance after what has been reported as an accident on the A176. There was very slow traffic due to a reported accident at the Five Bells interchange. We don't know the procurement of the incidents. I'm not going to say they're driving under the influence of alcohol or narcotics, but may well be of sleep deprivation. You know them lorry drivers, their taco break, should I say taco break, which they're supposed to have after driving X amount of working hours. Maybe they just wanted to get, not saying it's a lorry driver, could have been anyone, could have been someone just not paying attention on their mobile phone, smoking a cigarette perhaps, or eating a sandwich, something as silly as that, we don't know. So I'm not going to make a procurement and say, yeah, this is what happened, because it might not necessarily be the case. The A13 westbound completely blocked in the area. 3 fire engines, 2 police cars and an ambulance were seen at the scene. A diversion place. The incident affected traffic heading between South Benfleet and Stamford Hope towards the M25. Motorists were told they should avoid the route if possible, or allow extra time for any essential journeys they needed to take place in the area. I mean, I could have jumped to conclusions like a lot of journalists. They would just point their fingers, or even people speaking gossip throughout the day amongst their friends. They point fingers and say this is what happened, but people just gossiping. That's quantitative, it's not facts. Qualitative evidence is facts, and that's what a lot of people do. And I find it sheep herding where people make gossip and they just jump to conclusion. This person's that person's this, but really they don't know any qualitative evidence. So they just make jumping ship before they find out the facts. Happens in the court scenario time and time again. I see it all the time. It's outrageous. Diversions in place. InRex reports that traffic is being diverted via the slip roads. The diversion is via the exit slip road, 2 roundabouts and back on via the entry slip road. The main carriageway closed. Traffic website InRex is reporting that the main carriageway is shut. It currently states main carriageway closed and very slow traffic due to accident on the A13 Stamford Hope bypass London at bound A176 Five Bells interchange. There you go. I was watching, what was it, ECDL group, Tommy Robinson, where Piers Morgan interviewed him. At first I jumped to conclusion because there's evidence. Obviously, he was angry that the supposedly Muslim family. I'm not going to jump to conclusion because I don't know the facts. I wasn't there, but obviously going by Piers Morgan and Tommy Robinson were doing that time. The ECDL group were against Islam. That's why it's Islamophobia. And Piers, in depth for the qualitative evidence, he was very, very irrational and abruptive towards Islam, which he could have got killed. Things he's come out of is disgusting, putting all Islam people down. My granddad's part of the Islamic community himself from Pakistan, so yeah, it's calling all Islam rapists. It's outrageous. So he ran away and moved to Spain. But at the time he said it, he was saying it was his sister they raped. But now I found out later it was actually his cousin. They said it was an Islam gang that put her on heroin, and then they raped her. But then I found out it was her cousin, so that was a lie. And then he's trying to put all Islam down and brush them the same, tarnish them all the same brush. It's just, what's to say? He didn't want to take the heroin. He was saying that she got bullied by them to take it. I mean, you have an option, don't you? Press 999, I don't do heroin, can you please save me? I mean, surely that's what you do if you're any sort of level-head person. Hello, Marmite. Don't get bullied into taking heroin. She's obviously an addict, messing with the wrong sort of people. You know what I mean? It's her own fault. You can get that in English people. If you're doing heroin with heroin addicts, you're going to become abused. Simple. Thank you, Marmite. Appreciate that, girl. Good morning. Essex mum fighting to save daughter. Another provocation for mothers in Essex. Essex mum fighting to save daughter. It's National Women's Day yesterday, so this is quite heartfelt. This next part. Essex mum fighting to save daughter 6, given a year to live after terminal brain tumour diagnosis. That's terrible, isn't it? Lizzie and Jack McLeavy were told their little girl wouldn't have longer than 12 months to live with radiotherapy alone. These mums and fathers that go for the absolute tragic times with ill kids. My son's got four-limb cerebral palsy, so I know exactly the traumatic times they have to go through and the measures through hospital and stuff. Given a year to live, if she lives longer than a year, it's a strain on anyone's life to know that one of your family members got a year to born, 6 years old. 6 years old could be a first-born child or a last-born, whatever it is. It's a tragic time. Catch you later, Define View. Thank you, mate. And this mum is desperately trying to save her 6-year-old daughter after she was diagnosed with terminal brain tumour. Lizzie and Jack McLeavy's world came crashing down in January when their little girl, Lily, was diagnosed with DIPG. The brain tumour is devastatingly common in children. Christmas period just gone had been one of the happiest the family had ever had. After Lizzie discovered she would be having a baby boy, making Lily a big sister. But just a few days after Christmas, Lily began violently throwing up. Trips to the doctors initially put down her sickness as a bad case of gastrosinusitis, explaining it could last up to 10 days. After 2 weeks, Lily was still being sick and her parents rushed her to A&E. There's a CT scan revealed there was a mass on the brain, later confirmed to be terminal. The parents from Marks Tay were told their daughters would have no longer 12 months to live. Now they are doing everything they can to raise money for Lily to go to USA for special treatment to treat the VIPG. And you know what? If I could help in some way, even send them artwork, I don't know how I can get in touch with these guys, but Marks Tay is literally just down the road. I would give them a few pieces of artwork if it could help raise money, if people would pay the price for it. Up until December 29th, Lily had been perfectly healthy and a happy little girl. It was just one evening. We were making pizzas and she had the pizza, and then we came up for a bath, and I was bathing her and getting dressed, and she said, "Mummy, I feel sick." Lizzie, 31, said, "Sorry about that. What happened there? Dropped my phone." She had been going a bit crazy in the bath, so I said, "You were just going crazy," and said, "No one is going to be sick," and threw up all over her dinner. I thought maybe there was too much cheese on a pizza or something. For the next 2 days, Lily continued to be sick, but they were told it was probably gastrosinusitis after a trip to the doctors. After 2 weeks of vomiting, Lizzie and Jack contacted a private doctor who advised them to take Lily to hospital. I explained that every morning when she gets up, she feels sick and throws up bile, she said. We were sent to the CT scan. We weren't waiting very long. They said to go get something to eat while waiting results, Lizzie said. We come back and sitting with Lily, and the consultant oncologist came and said, "We need to talk about the scan." I left Lily with a nurse brain. It just didn't register when they were saying this to me. It was a total shock. "What do you mean?" "Like a tumour," and said yes. I said, "Can you remove it?" And they said, "It's not clear enough to see in the scan." What devastation, age 6. I couldn't believe they were saying this about Lily. We need to make more charity. I know there is charities that can help these children, but that's a substantial amount, and to get a trip to the US of A as well. We really need to stick together. I don't know how we can make donations for this, but some way or shape or form I will. Lizzie immediately called Jack to the hospital after hearing the news. He was in bits, he said. She's always been so healthy. You never think that was going to happen to your child. You see things on telly and think about how you would ever cope with that, but it's not your life or your child. On Tuesday, January 12th, the family made their way to Addenbrooke's Hospital when Lily was officially diagnosed with DIPG, a tumour that grows in the stem of the brain. There is a brain tumour charity, but I don't know if it's going to. Miss Reed, what is the diffuse in intersync patone which is DIPG? DIPG is a high-grade brain tumour that only affects children. These particular tumours grow quickly and are likely to spread to other parts of operating on critical areas on the brain. Typical treatment for DIPG is radiotherapy and steroids. Symptoms include double vision and normal allergen of the eyes, weakness of the facial muscles, arm and leg weakness, unstable balance and difficulties walking and speaking. DIPG.org said that most diagnoses occur in children between 5 and 6 years of age. Devastatingly, fewer than 10% of their children survive 2 years from diagnosis. Devastatingly, the couple were then told the tumour was terminal without radiotherapy. They said Lily would only have 6 months, but even with radiotherapy, Lily would live no longer than 12 months. The couple's entire world came crashing down. They said it was inoperable. Lizzie said, "You can't really describe it. I couldn't. It was just a shock. I couldn't believe they were saying this about Lily. The family are now looking at specialist treatment in the US." Lizzie said, "Please help us. What are you going to do? We need to do something." In the UK, we asked how long it would be, and they could give a time, but they can only go by previous patients on how long, and they said they've not lasted any more than a year. I just didn't believe it. I mean, isn't it ironic that the UK has got nothing like that in place at the moment? I mean, we can put out the vaccine straight away, but we can't pull out things for terminally ill children, such as these brain therapy treatments that they need, these kids need. We need to get these surgeons in the UK. We need to get the whatever the apparatus they need to make it happen. We need to support it. We're spending like 3.5 billion on a new theme park going in Tilbury. Why not spend 3.5 billion on the NHS to fix up children? I'd much prefer that than a Foxhole theme park for my children to go play. I'd rather be saving, other newborn babies. My son was in it. 2 of my sons were terminally ill, which they need therapy and such things, to get by. One of my sons can't walk, so I know the strength they need to go to make this happen. I have to be normal and be positive for Lily. Looking at the weeks before Lily's diagnosis, it was hard to believe that anything had been wrong. When I look back on my phone at pictures of Christmas, I think that was in her head. And when we had no idea, Liz said, if she hadn't been sick, we wouldn't know. She hasn't got any neurological symptoms, she added. In December, we found out I was having a boy. We had an early gender scan. How do we know? Have a new baby and deal with this as well. At the beginning, I just didn't know what to do. Didn't know how to cope with it. You have to deal with it. If you don't, I wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. If you didn't, I wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. I have to be normal and positive for Lily and keep things normal. She's so amazing. She looks, she's a pretty little kid. She doesn't deserve to be in such a crisis. Lizzie has explained to Lily that she had a lump in her head, which is making her sick. Lily also understands that she needs to go to USA to get special medication. She's so clever, and she said that's Lizzie as her mother. Really nothing has praised her. All the scans and all the tests and having cannulas put in her arm, she's not phased. When she had the radiotherapy mask, made her to keep her still. When she said that moulded to her face and had to go down out of the room, I broke down when it was being done. She didn't see me break down. I sorted myself out and she got off the bed and she said, Mummy, I didn't mind that. She thought it was quite relaxing. Lily has also been increasingly excited about becoming a big sister. Now she's got used to it, and my bump has got bigger, and she knows he's in there. And she talked about when he's going to come out and what she wants to do. She said she helped me to do his room. I can't put into words how much it means. Initially, Lizzie couldn't bear to look up the disease, but her husband Jack started to look at treatment elsewhere. This is when they found a doctor in New York who provides treatment for DIPG. The couple immediately set up a fundraiser knowing they would need the money to fund treatment and travel for Lily. They are the most they are the host of the various of other trials which could be available for Lily in America. Lily has undergone 13 sessions of radiotherapy. Now awaits another MRI scan on the 15th to see what effect it has had. It is now more important than ever to get funding they need to treat Lily. It would mean anything really, Lizzie said. She's our little girl. She's so precious to us. Every child is precious to their parents, but it would mean so much. I can't put it into words how much it means. So far, just over 164,000 has been raised of the family's 370,000 target. Across the community have been rallying together to try and raise money, including another little girl called Connie Wine. She heard about Lily's situation and decided that her family would do what they can to help. She said it's hugely important to me in the circumstance that my community rallies around. I guess when something like this happens, there's an aspect of you that thinks, as a mum, what I need is this was us. If you're able to donate to help Lily get to America for the treatment, you can click online. I'm gonna try and I'm definitely gonna raise the awareness on Facebook. Try and get some donations. Well, in Hatfield, Hertfordshire, guys. I used to live in the constituent of Hatfield, so I was in Hertfordshire, so quite close by. Welwyn Garden City train station. Person dies. I mean, Grant Shapps is obviously transport secretary. Obviously not. He's not in charge of accidents. I don't expect he thinks that people can fall in front of train. Whatever happened, I don't know. We're going to get into that next. But another provocation caused in Welwyn Garden City. The person dies after being hit by train near Welwyn Garden City railway station. This was recorded on the 4th of March at 3 p.m. A person has sadly died after being hit by a train near Welwyn Garden City railway station earlier today. British Transport Police has confirmed. A spokesperson for BTP said British Transport Police were called to Welwyn Garden City railway station at 11:38 a.m. this morning, March the 4th, following reports of a casualty on tracks. Paramedics also attended, however, sadly a male was pronounced dead at the scene. We don't know if it was slip, trip or fall or someone pushed him, do we? So we don't know. Let's not jump to conclusions, but we're going to get to it next. This accident is not being treated as suspicious and a file will be prepared for the coroner. Herts police were called at 11:44 a.m. today to assist BTP, British Transport Police, at the Welwyn Garden City train station following the incident. All lines have be open, but the trains may be cancelled or delayed up to 9 minutes until approximately 5:30. Speak to someone. The Samaritans are available to speak to on 24/7. So anyone suffering the loss of that incident, it doesn't say who it was. Sometimes the paper, because it is produced on the day of the accident, of the scene, I don't like to give who the person was because I don't know if it is mental health, suicide. I don't like to publish it all over the media. This is another thing we need to, UK laws. Parliament is the absolute sovereignty of the whole of the UK. They need to come down really hard on these laws. Child abuse, children, people trafficking. Absolutely, you need to come down hard on these laws. Paedophiles, we need to put life imprisonment. I mean, what comes to your mental health? Abduct children in a sex, in an absolute complete sexuality. Oh, I don't want to think of it. It makes me sick. I mean, it's vile, vulgar, vulgarism. I'm so glad I do not. I don't know if it's drink that sends people's chemical reaction in stupid direction or what. I don't know. They get over drunk. They don't know what they're doing or what. I don't know. I really don't know what goes on in humanity's head. I'm glad I don't drink. I'm glad I don't take no narcotics. I don't know why these people are even alive. I don't know what it is that makes their chemical reaction go to children. I really don't. But the whole time I've been drinking, I would go to. I'd be. No, it's no, you wouldn't. It's no. I just can't. I can't. That's what I mean. I can't think why an adult would want to abduct a child. It's just disgusting. Teachers, whatever. You see it all the time in the media. Child abuse laws to be explained in England and Wales. Sports coaches and faith leaders who have sexual relations with 16 and 17-year-olds in the care will be breaking law under new legislation plan for England and Wales. Thank goodness. They need their, they're teachers. They should be thinking logically. These children are mine. I'm supposed to be teaching them, not. Do you know what I mean? It's wrong. I'm not abducting them. I'm supposed to be teaching and preaching to kids. Teachers are. Teaching and preaching children, not abducting them. The move would put them on the par of the roles like teachers and social workers. Children's charity, the NSPCC, said it was a landmark step for the protection of young people. It is among a raft of measures included in a bill which is due to be introduced in Parliament later. Other provisions in the police crime sentencing and court bill include allowing judges to give whole life orders for the premeditated murder of a child, as well as to 18 and 20-year-olds in exceptional cases such as for acts of terrorism, which result in the mass loss of a life. Life sentencing for killer drivers and powers to stop the automatic release halfway through a sentence for service violent and sexual offenders. New court orders to help crack down on knife crime and make it easier for police to stop and search those they suspect of carrying a knife. Tougher punishments for criminal damage of a memorial, with the maximum penalties set increase from 3 months to 10 years. Government's plans to follow prolonged calls for campaigners for the so-called position of trust laws to be extended to cover other roles who have responsibility over young people. I'm going to go back over this because this is very important. I want to do a Facebook media as well. Peter Wanless, Chief Executive of National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty for Children, the NSPCC, which campaigned for the law change, said it was delighted the government has agreed to close the legal loophole. This landmark step sends a clear message that children and young people can return to the extra-circular activities they love without being at risk of grooming by the very adults they should look to for support and guidance, he added. The new bill, with its long list of proposals, is being described as a justice overhaul aimed at giving better protection to the public and more backing to the police. Justice Secretary Robert Buckland said the bill was delivering on the government's promise to crack down on crime and build safer communities. He said the bill would give the police and courts the powers they need to keep our streets safe, while providing greater opportunities for offenders to turn their lives around and better contribute to society. Sorry about that, guys. My phone vibrates before yes. He said the bill will give the police and court powers they need to keep our streets safe while providing greater opportunity and for offenders to keep turn their lives around for better contribute to society. The government is also investing hundreds of millions to deliver speedier justice and boost support for victims, he added. Home Secretary Priti Patel said the bill would help stop violent criminals and their tracks, putting the thugs who assault officers behind bars for longer and strengthening the support officers and their families receive. However, some campaigners have criticised the proposals, responding to plans for longer sentences. Peter Dawson, director of the Prison Reform Trust, said there is not a shred of evidence to show that this runaway inflation in punishment reduces crime. I agree. I'll be back again on Castbox. Give me 5 minutes. Got to do a thing on Facebook. I'll be straight back. You guys will be fine. Just cut my radar finish. I just want to give it a shout out on Facebook. Right, know what is going on. Hello there, ladies and gents. I'm live on YouTube, I'm live on live TV, and I'm live on Facebook. I just wanted to say happy Tuesday, the 9th of the March, 2021. You're with the prodigious, the prominent Professor Johnson at Proclamation News and Gavin's. I just want to give some people, it's probably a provocation to some of the human, what can we call them? Human excrements, or I don't know what you want to call them, whatever you want to call them, the juveniles, young juveniles that don't generate a prosperous life through, I don't know, it could be unfortunate upbringing or whatever, I don't know. Split of a relationship can cause a child's men's rehabilitations, causing a child a provocation in their education, everything. So anyway, also talk about child abuse laws to be explained in England and Wales. The procurement to that is, you've got to give them life behind bars. That's all I can say. Anyone that wants to abduct a child or human trafficking need life behind bars. The only way you're going to make it justice or hang them. But you're not going to bring the hanging back in England, they call it a fair trade policy. So sport coaches and faith leaders who have sexual relationships with 16 and 17-year-olds in their care will be breaking the law under new legislation plan for England and Wales. It happens, like your teachers at school, or it could be your sports coach. It happens with young adults. You see it in the newspaper all the time. It's horrific to think a like-minded adult would want to abduct a 17, 16-year-old. I mean, what relevance has they got to your life, especially in a sexuality mindset? I don't know. I couldn't even put my frame mind in one of their minds. It's disgusting how they act, some of them. But the move would put them on par with roles like teachers and social workers. Children's charity NSPCC said it was a landmark step for the protection of young people. It gives you a bit of security of your, if you've got children. My sons are getting like 15, 16. They're putting a stronger bill on for the law of adults teaching these children not to come into some sexuality activity. It's mad, isn't it? We're thinking that. It can happen to any kids. It's among a raft of measures included in the bill, which is due to be introduced in Parliament later. Nigeria is the worst place. That's why you see a lot of Nigerian university students, human trafficking, just to get their grade in university. They get bribed for sexual activity with his tutor. It's disgusting. Other provisions in the police crime sentencing and court bill include allowing judges to give whole life orders for the premeditated murder of a child, as well as to 18-20-year-olds in exceptional cases such as the acts of terrorism, which result in a mass loss of life. Life sentences for killer drivers has powers to stop automatic release halfway through a sentence for serious violent and sexual offenders. I'm doing my YouTube above my Facebook camera, guys. So if I'm not looking directly at the camera, that's why. The government plans follow prolonged calls from campaigners for the so-called position of trust law to be extended to cover other roles that responsibly over young people. While the age of consent is 16, it is illegal for those in some professions, such as teachers, social workers, and doctors, to have sexual relationships with 16 or 17-year-olds in their care. You'd think so as well, wouldn't you? I mean, to have a sexual relationship with anyone, a patient coming in any profession, you don't have a sexual relationship in business. As simple as that. I've always gone by that motto, If I'm training someone at PT, when I was a professional boxer, PT training women and men. I mean, if I had a lady same age as me, she's pretty. You don't have a sexual relationship with that person. It's business. Oh, I haven't. I will do that for you though. This landmark steps sends a clear message that children and young people can turn to their extra circular activities they love without being at risk of grooming by the very adults they should look up to for good guidance. He's added, the new bill, with its long list of proposals, is being described as a justice overhaul aimed at giving the better protection to the public and more backing to the police. Justice Secretary Robert Buckland said the bill was delivering on government's promise to crack down on crime and build safer communities. He said that the bill would give the police and courts the powers that they need to keep our streets safe, while providing greater opportunities for offenders to turn their lives around and to better contribute to society. Government is also investing hundreds of millions to deliver speedy justice and boost support for victims, he added. Home Secretary Priti Patel said the bill would help stop violent criminals in their tracks, putting thugs who assault officers behind bars for longer, and strengthen the support officers and the families that their families receive. However, some campaigners have criticised the proposal, restricted plans for longer sentences. Peter Dawson, director of the Prison Reform Trust, said there is not a shred of evidence to show that this runaway inflation in punishment produces crime. I'm not going to stay on long. I'm just going to give you a bit of a. This is a bit of the highlights I've gone through on my YouTube. I just want to give you a bit of rundown what's going on. If we could donate, I will be back in a bit, Gemma. I'll do some singing. I've got just get through my journalism for the day, so I do methodically most days. I'm sponsored by a few companies to do it as well, which I need to do. There's a mum in Marks Hay. It's horrific news. That's why I want to give it to you. Marks Hay on Essex Live. Mum fighting to save her daughter, aged 6. Try and raise money to go to US to get this treatment for her daughter. She's got anything up to 6 to 12 months to live. She's got brain tumour, which is £1 million until we docs. Think about it. I'd rather have these apparatus and the medical staff to, my son alone's got full himself, Japan, China. They probably got all this. They probably definitely have, more than likely, definitely have. They got all the latest. So I can't see why we haven't got all this. Yeah, absolutely. But even before that, it was like that, wasn't it? Even before the COVID, they've always been, up there with the top stuff, apparatus in the infrastructure, hospitality, hospitals even. It says ministers must quickly ban LGBT and conversion therapy. Campaigners have accused the government of not moving quickly enough towards banning LGBT conversion therapy in England and Wales. MPs from across the political spectrum called during a Westminster debate on the practice to be made illegal. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if it's for the inappropriate way people act in the LGBT when they're campaigning or not. I don't know. I'm just going to get into that. I'm not pointing. I don't want to be part of pointing fingers, but I want to have a good understanding why. But equality campaigners and some MPs said targeted action was needed. Conversion therapy refers to any form of treatment or psychotherapy which aims to change a person's sexual orientation or gender identity, ranging from electric shock treatment to religious teaching and discussion. The practice is already outlawed in Switzerland as parts of Australia, Canada, and the US. MPs across the political spectrum backed a similar ban for England and Wales during a debate in Parliament's Westminster Hall, prompted by a petition signed by more than 250,000 people. They called on the government to produce a timeline for legislation from Scotland Secretary David Mundell. Conservative Party's first open gay minister said conversion therapy could not be tolerated. He added that the government had given the impression of being tardy, and now was the time to end that impression. So I don't like to get on the bandwidth of equalities, because you don't know what nerves of people you're touching. My motto is live and let live. He contradicts himself, so I've got mixed messages, but he's very loved by a lot of, especially European government. You know, it's just the way he expresses. He goes over to like Switzerland, the way he expresses their politics in Switzerland. He knows what he's talking about, but then he contradicts himself in different. Especially when he's on President Trump's rally, let's make America great again. I mean, no disrespect to Americans, you can't make America great again when you've got everyone with, you know, anyone with a provocation in America. Say your wife's cheating now or your husband's cheating now. You all got guns. What you can do is shoot him in the leg. Don't shoot him again. Shoot his privates off. It's ludicrous, isn't it? Yeah, I like it. I do like him. You know, like I say, I like the way he expresses. You know, exfoliates in any given parliament. The way he exfoliates, he knows how to brush people up the right way, like by saying about how great their country is. You know, when he's in Switzerland, he's saying to is it Marken? Something Marken? He was just saying how good I like Boris, see? But he was just saying how good Switzerland politics is. He knows how to butter people up the right way. He's a good enthusiast, definitely. SNP's Hannah Bardell said a friend of hers had reviewed their experience of the practice, which led them to be attempting suicide at the age of 12. Unfortunately for the Farage lovers, which I do like, I'm not going to, you know, I don't think he's ever going to be able to be a leader because he's only just won enough seats to get a seat in the parliament, isn't he? Although he's doing massive outside of parliament, you know, all the people supporting. It's not inside. He's not winning. Unfortunately, I don't know why. Labour Andrew Eagle called conversion therapy medieval, degrading, and dehumanising. And Tory MP Elliot Colburn said, "With every day that passes, there is another person at risk of being part subject to this degrading treatment, and we risk losing even more lives of people who feel there is no other way out." I'm a Johnson anyway, so I'm all for Bojo, you know, at the moment. I think any Prime Minister has, to be honest with you. So I don't know, without being in that driving seat himself, what you're up against. You've got everyone going to be criticised, you know, what's his name? Sir Keir Starmer, which he's only, he's just a coherent of a Conservative anyway. He's just following the footsteps of Conservative Keir Starmer, isn't he? Yes, he does. He definitely does. Boris does need to brush his hair. I'm a bit the same. Now look, I just got out of bed and just threw my hat on. Adherent, the petition which prompted the debate said running conversion therapy treatment should be made criminal offence, as well as forcing people attending or sending abroad for them. Boris Johnson said in July that the practice was absolutely abhorrent, and that the plans for a ban would be brought forward. The government commissioned research into the ban, which was first proposed by Theresa May in 2018, but ministers have published details. Responding to the Westminster Hall debate, Miss Badenoch said, "I want to assure you that we are committed to ending conversion therapy in the UK, and we take this issue very seriously. This practice has no place in civilised society." Meaningful action. A robust criminal law framework was in place to deal with the worst examples, the minister said, adding that the people could face charges such as rape or grievous bodily harm in some cases. But Ms Badenoch said the government did not want to stop those who seek spiritual counselling as they explore their sexual orientation. Afterwards, Ozane Foundation, which campaigned against discrimination based on sexuality and gender identity, said the government has constantly dragged its feet on taking a meaningful action, allowing perpetrators to flourish during the continued silence. The response from the minister told us nothing new. I mean, I'd love to get someone from the LGBT group to give their perspective on this, because, you know, you don't know what effect it's having on equalities, because it is all about International Bill of Rights. It is about equalities throughout humanities. But to the meaningful eye of someone that we don't know, because we're normal, you know, some of us listening might be normal, or some of us listening might be part from the LGBT group, which have a better perspective of how they feel about this amendment. That's who it's going to affect. And then the International Bill of Rights, in their sense, is not going to be international bill of rights because it's not about equality. It's not sharing their heartfelt sexuality, is it? Um, I don't like to get on that subject, really, to be honest with you. I don't like to discriminate or incorporate my ideas, what I think was right, because I really don't know what's right nowadays. We go by what the Bible says, but the Bible is not always right in some respect. It added there could be no hope of ending conversion therapy without a ban, and Nancy Kelly, chief executive of Stonewall, said it was very disappointing to have a little movement from the government with no clear pathway to ban or timescale for implementation. I don't know what's your perspective on that, Gemma? You got any? I would like to say because I'm not I'm not one of those people that can put any fascist commitment towards any nationality, or I can't put any sexuality transformation across either. Never do that. But they're the absolute sovereignty of the whole land. They've got to put guidance for an example down for humanity, I suppose. Absolute sovereignty over the whole land. Biggest judiciary we've had. Emma Hardy MP quits shadow minister's role over COVID workload. Labour MP has resigned her shadow ministerial post, sitting and increased constituency working during lockdown. Emma Harding said due to the coronavirus pandemic, the number of people seeking her help had risen dramatically. The whole West and the Hessel MP was appointed to the shadow further education and university minister last year after Sir Keir Starmer was elected party leader. Yeah, exactly. So I'm on that same wavelength as you. In her resignation letter, she said she was leaving with a heavy heart. Miss Hardy blamed the government's handling of the pandemic for on the place I love. In the past year, the number of residents contacting me needing help and supporting it has risen dramatically. I was elected as their representative and the needs will always come first, she said. Miss Hardy added, I will no longer be able to give the ministers the time it deserves. I mean, a lot of people jump on the bandwagon. Do you know when they do that Brighton thing, that gay thing over there, gay pride, the way they act when they're drunk. But it's no different to the way straight sexuality acts at a festival, inappropriate because they're drunk. Anyone that's drunk, overly drunk, acts inappropriate, regardless of what sexuality you are. So a lot of people, I've seen it all over the media. Few people act inappropriate because they're drunk, but it happens wherever you go, straight, wherever you are. So I don't know why they bother. Mr. Hardy added, I will no longer be able to give the role as shadow ministry the time it deserves. The former primary school teacher was elected to Parliament in 2017 when she replaced the long-serving Labour MP Alan Johnson. In the election night 2019 election, Miss Hardy held onto the seat with a majority of 2,856, a drop of 10.4% in her vote compared with the 2017 result. I'm actually training to be a local councillor. I'll go back in uni in October. So I'll get back to that in October. I'll finish off my degree. Yeah, I mean, gays and that, they're lovely people. They've got a nice sense of humour. People shouldn't be, painting pictures, especially like when they go gay pride. People act inappropriate because they're drunk. It happens all the time. That's what drink does, isn't it? It impairs your. Oh, thank you. I think I had nice eyes. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate that. Nigel Farage, Brexit-backing politician to quit as leader of Reform UK. Oh, he's going to quit. Nigel Farage, Brexit-backing politician, quit as leader of Reform UK. Nigel Farage is stand down as a leader of the Reform UK, the political party being launched in spring 2019 as a Brexit party. The 56-year-old told the Sunday Telegraph he is intended to step back from the party's political activity and election campaigning. But he added he wanted to go on influencing the debate through the media and social media. He said Chairman Richard Tice would take over the party, Are you voting at the election in May, May the 6th? I appreciate it, Jim. Are you making a vote on May the 6th? Yeah, yeah, May the 6th. We've got the local commissioners, the mayors, the police commissioners, crime commissioners as well, I think. In a letter to party supporters, and Mr. Tice would now have to help the party democratise itself and set up a national structure. He said he would remain at the party's honourable president, although he would relinquish any executive power within the party. Mr. Farage's decision to quit comes just months before it intends to stand candidates in May's election in England, Wales, and Scotland. Yeah, I'm going to. I've done it. You can do it. You can do it online. I think they're opening polling stations, but they're going to have the because of COVID, there'll be 2 meters, 2 meter distance and all that. Washing their hands with sanitizer as you walk through the door, no doubt. In his letter to supporters, he said he strongly believes in the party's agenda, including changes to the electoral system and the House of Lords. But he added, I now feel I can do just as much to shift public opinion through media and social media as I can as campaigning party leader. Mr. Farage quit as UKIP leader in 2016. Before later quitting the party, completely set up Brexit ahead of 2019 European elections. The former MEP, who lost a seat in the European Parliament following Brexit, had tried unsuccessfully several times to become elected as an MP. Then is it? Yeah, I did think that he's had trouble being elected. The Brexit Party was set up to campaign for a clean break Brexit ahead of 2019 European elections, in which it won 29 seats, more than any other UK party. It had been due to stand 600 candidates at the year's general election, but pulled out of 317 seats won by the Tories in 2017 under the pressure not to split the Leave vote. It officially changed its name to Reform UK earlier this year, adding it would shift focus to reform British institutions. In his interview with the Telegraph, Mr. Farage insisted he would leave party politics for good, after previously doing so and then returning. He said, I know I've come back once or twice when people thought I'd gone, but that is it. I've done. It's done. It's over. Party politics, campaigning, being involved in elections, that is now over for me because I've achieved the one thing I set out to do, to achieve the independence of the UK. There's no going back. Brexit is done. That won't be reversed. I'd like to have some, like I was saying about that Essex mum with that 60-year-old. I was going to get to Meghan Markle and Harry shenanigans, but I've really done this. That's driving me insane. It's all over the league at the minute. I don't know what to make of it. I really don't want to make that Meghan Markle and Harry, drive that's going on at the moment. It's a load of jibber jabber. It's like Scooby Doo. It's like Scooby Doo jibber jabber. Fred Flintstone, isn't it? Jibber jabber, I think. Yeah. Anyway, Nigel Farage. I didn't think he ain't usually win an election in the UK, but like I say, he's a good man. He's a good man for explaining humanities. When he goes to European Parliament in Switzerland and stuff, the way he says about the government, how their government's run, he knows exactly how to butter a bit of toast. He knows how to butter the MEPs up, definitely. Doesn't he? He's phenomenal the way he exfoliates the country, the way he exfoliates. It's a nice word, isn't it? How he exfoliates the country and the politics. Switzerland is, they've got big industrialisation. In diamond and gold and stuff like that in Switzerland. They've got loads of money, haven't they? Switzerland is a rich country, so he knows exactly what to say. Yeah, they do. They do love it. He's definitely got the jurisdiction there, isn't he? He's definitely got jurisdiction to smother them with his emotive words. Most definitely. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna call that it for my thing. Thanks, Jim. I'll come back. Was that a song you want me to sing? I'll come back in a bit. I'll come sing that. Just gonna have a cup of tea and I'll come back and sing that song. No problem. What was that song you want to sing?